Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Michael.
All right. So this is our last lesson before we get to the final project next week. And of course, the final project is just a continuation of our current project, which is the animal animation. And let's start by just reviewing what we've done already. So we've made the mesh for our animals. And what were some of the things that we had to do? What were some interesting or new things that you learned while we were making the mesh for our animals?
We can try animating them.
Okay, yes, we did animation, but what did we do just for the mesh part?
We move them.
What do you mean?
We move each different parts of the mesh, then we save it into each frame, then we move eventually on its own.
Okay, but before all the animation, before we started animating anything, what did we do with the mesh?
We manipulate them into shapes.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So what kind of tools did we use to do that?
Extrude,
Yeah, we used extrusion, good.
Scaling.
We used scaling, excellent.
rotate.
Rotating, of course, good. How did we get the left side of the body to match the right side of the body?
Oh, mirror.
Yeah, we used the mirror modifier, excellent. Right?
Right.
Okay, so those were some of the things that we've had to do. Don't forget, we also used loop cuts as well in some places where we need to add in extra geometry to finally get our images. Now, of course, we also used reference images that we did by researching online about our animals to help us to build this mesh. All right, and then we got into animation, like you said. But before we did the animation, there was something else between making the mesh and then making it move. There was something in the middle. What was that?
Armature.
The armature, yes. The armature or our bones. So we needed bones in order to have the mesh move with something, in order to control the movement of our mesh, in other words. Okay, so the armature was just bones. All right, you can stop now. Just gonna keep walking forever. So we added the armature, which were the bones, and let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so here we can see those bones. Let's hide the mesh. There they are. Okay, now what were some special techniques that we had to use in order to create these bones? Or this armature.
We can put extra pair of bones to limit the movement, how far can it go.
Exactly, right. So we had some bones that limit the movement. Good, because we don't want parts of our skeleton just go flying around all over the place. Okay. What special thing did we do with the legs in order to make them move like a natural kind of movement?
Parenting them.
Okay, that was part of it. Yes, we did parent the legs to the backbone so that it's one unit together. That's good. But remember we had this control bone, right? And what did we have to do in order to make this move the other bones? Does anybody remember that? Oh God, what's happening? No.
What have you done a second ago?
I don't know. Whatever it is, it's over. It's fine. Okay. Okay, who can remember? How does this work? Where we have one control bone moving the other bones in series together.
Parents.
The short name is IK.
Inverse kinematic.
Inverse kinematics, that's correct. Right? So inverse kinematics allows us to get this natural movement. So same as if we were to push on my wrist, the other bones are going to move inversely. So the elbow will move out, the wrist will move this way. So this is our inverse kinematics. Right?
Right.
Okay, excellent. So that brings us to putting the armature and the mesh together so that we could animate it. And how did we animate?
We set up each different poses.
We set a pose. Very good. So we use our armature to pose the animal in a certain way. And then we add
Keyframe.
a keyframe. Yes. So in our timeline here, which counts the number of frames in our animation, we can add a keyframe for each pose in our walking cycle. And one keyframe will then move into the next one, creating an animation, right?
Right.
And with that, we were able to make a walk cycle for our animals. That's where we are, right?
Right.
Okay, excellent. Now, we are going to do two new things today, like I mentioned in our last class. And those two new things will be how to animate the camera to add more interest to the scene, because of course we're going to need a background and lighting and things like that. So we're going to move the camera around. We're also going to, number two, see how to loop this animation so that it's continuous. And that way we can get a full amount of movement in whatever time that we want. So we're not limited to only the keyframes. We can extend the time to whatever we desire. All right, so we'll do those two things, but first, let's discuss the final project. Okay. Now, normally I would tell you what the final project is, but I'm going to have you tell me. What?
The final project.
I mean, why not? Do you not ever get to have input in your own destiny? Well, now's your chance. So, what should the final project look like?
The final project will be our model walking.
That's excellent. So, okay. So we're going to build a rubric now, right? So there should be a walking animation, right? That's what we've really been working towards this whole time.
Without moving background.
We should have a moving background?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
And maybe a wallpaper behind, so it wouldn't be just wall.
Okay, a wallpaper or some kind of background.
Yes.
So we're not just looking into the void. All right. Okay, so we have 3 points on our rubric. Anything else?
Fancy camera wheel.
Okay, fancy camera work. All right, so we should have some camera movement to make it look more cinematic. Okay, anything else? I mean, you guys are gonna have to do all this work, so remember that.
Yeah.
And lighting.
So
Lighting, yes. Lighting, well, we'll include two things in that category. Lighting and
Shading.
shading or materials. Right? We're not going to add shaders, because that's another advanced step of what we've done so far. But we can add materials, absolutely. So we can give our mesh some color. Why not? Okay. So that looks good, right? So those could be 5 points on our rubric. We have the walk animation. We have the terrain or the scene. You can add rocks and trees and whatever kind of scene that you want. We should have some kind of background.
Cinematic.
A camera movement. And, of course, lighting and materials. All right, I like it. So that will be the final project. Now, of course, you already have your mesh and animations finished, essentially, right? So now it's just a matter of those other points. Okay. So I will formally write up your final after, now that we have our 5 points. And then what we can do now is jump right into the lesson. How does that sound?
That's good.
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. So the first thing I want to do is the easier parts. We'll do the easy thing first. Get it out of the way. And this is easy only because we already know how to set keyframes, as we've done that with the animal animation. Okay, so let's look at how to animate the camera. And just like anything else, there are many ways to do this. We could, for example, create a path in which the camera would follow along, but that's a little bit more advanced than we're ready for. So instead, we're just going to do simple keyframes. And to do that, we need to first find our camera. There it is. Okay, here's our camera, or my camera. I don't know where your camera is. Somewhere else. So in object mode, we find our camera. There it is. Now, does anybody remember which shortcut key shortcut gives us the camera view? And it's 0. Thank you. 0 brings us into the camera view. Now, I want to be able to move this camera freely. And to do that, if anybody forgot, we have our menu on the side of our window here. Oh good, we'll do this. The touch screen is getting angry at me. And once we open that window, we have different tabs here. And we want the view tab, because we're going to lock the camera to our viewport. Maybe, if I can put on a check. Now, what this does is allow us to move the camera just like we would move our view. So we can use our 3 movements, zoom, pan, and orbit, in order to position the camera in the correct place that we want. And of course, we also need the timeline. So I'm going to start at frame 1. And let's say that looks like a pretty good position. How do I set a keyframe for the camera? Because my camera is selected. It does have the orange highlight.
Okay, press the I key.
I for insert keyframe. And keyframe. Okay, what's next?
And move the frame thing.
Yep.
To a
We're going to
different.
move the frame marker. Good. So we're going to move this to another frame, and whatever you choose, that's up to you. But don't forget, we can always move these frames after to either extend the time or shorten the time, make it faster or slower. So once we move the marker to a new position on the timeline, what's next?
Then you set it. insert the frame. Is that?
One step before that. So we position the camera, we set the frame. Now we move the frame to the next point, but the camera's in the same place.
Oh, right. Reposition the camera.
We got to reposition the camera. So you kind of have to use your imagination at this point. How do you want this camera to move? You can do something really basic, like having the camera just kind of like sway back and forth. That might be interesting. Or you can do like a drone movement, where you're like flying over the animal. Up to you, however you want to do this. But I'm just going to do some simple movements here. So just going to rotate a little bit by orbiting, and then maybe pan over to the front. And now that I've set the position of the camera, I can then
Same thing.
insert another keyframe, right? So let's see what that looks like. There you go. And then, of course, I can move it again, move the marker again, change the position of my camera, however I want it, and then set another keyframe, and so on and so forth. And this we can continue doing until we have a movement that we like. Now, if you want to loop this, well, we're going to see how to loop animations next. Otherwise, you can just animate it however you want. Okay, so let's do a quick play and see what that looks like. Play. Here we go.
Wow.
Looks pretty good.
Oh.
I like it. Okay. And of course, I could continue. All right, so it's essentially the same procedure that we used in animating the armature, except now we're using the camera. Now, when you finish moving the camera around, don't forget to unlock the camera. Or else you're going to just keep moving the camera around after this instead of moving the viewport. So don't forget to unlock the camera by unchecking that block there. Okay? All right, so that's our camera animation. Questions?
Can we loop the camera thing as well?
Absolutely, yes. So we can loop the camera. Now, if you want to loop the camera, you'll want to do something similar to what we did with the armature. And that is, take the first keyframe, duplicate it, and then send it to the end of your animation. That way, your camera will start at the beginning position, go through its animation, and then no matter what, it's always going to return back to the beginning. So when you loop it, it'll be a smooth transition. Okay? All right, so let's see how that works. It might look funny. So let's see what that looks like. Because it might jump. But
That still
looks pretty
fine.
good. Yeah. So just goes right back to the beginning. Okay? Alright. So any other questions about just the basic camera movement? And again, you have all the freedom you want to be creative and move this camera all around this 3D space.
Okay.
Okay, no other questions? Okay,
I think that's basically.
so let's move on to part 2. Part 2 is looping animations. And I'm not going to do this on the camera. We're going to do this for the armature because that's what we really want to look at. Now, for the looping animation, I'm going to go into pose mode because that's where my keyframes are for the armature. And we actually need to make a new window.
New window.
Hold on. Does animation give me that window? No. Alright. Okay, we can use this. Now, in order to actually get the looped animation, we do need a different window that we've never used before. So, what I've done here is I went from layout mode into animation mode. So if you click on animation, it'll bring up different windows here. So you still get the timeline, but the timeline is now in what's called a dope sheet. And the dope sheet just separates every element of our animation into separate pieces. So like all of the bones are in here. So we can tweak every single tiny little animation to be very specific in what we want. We're not going to do that now. That's when you get a little bit more advanced. However, we are going to use this second window that we opened. And we're going to change the window type. And we've never done this before, so this will be a new thing. But if you go into the top corner here, if you click on that icon, these are lists of all the possible windows that we can use. And what we want to do is go into the animation list, and we want to open the graph editor. This one right here.
What is
And you might be greeted with some crazy things. You can expand this window if you like. You can also zoom in and see what's happening in here. And what's happening is, this is showing how each of the keyframes is changing over time. But we're not going to be concerned about that too much. Just informing you of what this window is showing.
Right.
So, how do we loop? Okay, first off, everybody have this window, yes? Okay, all right, good. So what we want to do is we want to select all the keyframes that are here because we want to loop all of those keyframes. So A, to select all. So make sure your mouse is in this window and you push A. They should all turn orange, of course. Orange is our indicator that we've selected something. And then we need to push the shortcut key. Good. Oh, God. No. No. Oh, God. What are you doing? I forgot what the shortcut key is. Shift, E, Control, E. That's the problem with shortcut keys. There are so many of them.
A lot.
It's not that much. Okay. Google to the rescue. I need to look up all the shortcut keys. All right. Okay. Go into the graphic. Shift E. Oh, okay. It's not Control E, it's Shift E. Oh. Why is it doing that? Shift E. There we go. Okay. My mouse was stuck in the search box. That's why. Okay, Shift E. So once you push Shift E, you get these choices, and this is called F curve extrapolation. What does that mean? Well, you don't really have to worry about that much for this, but the F curve, if you start manipulating the start and end point of keyframes, it's going to show like a curve between them. And we're able to change that curve to repeat those beginning and end points. It's a pretty advanced concept, but that's just the general idea. Alright, so we want to choose make cyclic. Cyclic, or cycle, means that we're going to make this into a cycle. It's going to repeat over and over again. So if I click on that, it doesn't look like anything changed, but now, that's because I already have a cyclic modifier on here. Oh no, oops, okay, I'm closing that window because I went too deep. So now if I press play, even though I'm not on the keyframes, it's still animated
Still running.
because it's on a loop. So there you go. That's how you loop your animations. So let me just go over that again, in case you missed it. I have to reopen. Oh no. Oh no. So Blender has this funny way of adding new windows. And it's very easy to go from adding windows to subtracting windows.
Oh.
And that's what I just did. What? Alright. That's how you what? That's how you add a window. So you add windows by moving your mouse to the corner of the window. And you see how it makes a we'll do it on this corner. You see how it makes like a little crosshair? So once you get that crosshair there, depending on which way you move it, it'll either delete a window or add a window. And sometimes you move it the wrong way and then everything goes funny. Okay, let's change this. This is going to be our 3D viewport. Alright, is that another window? No, don't do that. Oh god, no, I'm stuck now. We're gonna go with this one. There we go, okay. Oh boy. It's the one thing about Blender I really don't enjoy.
Yeah, I see why.
Okay, so we have our graph editor. By going into the animation tab. Again, to get our loop, we want to A, select all of the frames in the graph editor. Then we want to Shift E to open up our F curve. And then we want to make our F modifier cyclic. So make cyclic, this one here. Boop. And there you go. That's it. That's all you need to do. And now that animation is looped. And will continue forever. And we can do the same thing with the camera. As long as we go into object mode, select the camera, I close my graph editor, open up the graph editor, select all the keyframes, Shift E, make cyclic. Oh, here we go. Now you can see the F curves. There they are. Look at my beautiful F curves.
I cannot really do F card.
Well, the red, blue, and green reference each of the axes. So red for the x-axis, green for the y-axis, and then blue for the z-axis.
Oh.
Because the camera is moving on all of these axes, right? So that's why you have these different colors here. And of course, the movement is just what's happening between each keyframe. Like, what is the velocity of the camera, like how fast it's moving, and what is its position in space. And that's what we're seeing in the F-curve.
Okay.
Okay, but that's all you need to do to get, oh god, more windows.
You just had another one.
So, like I said, that's one feature I'm not very happy with, but it's okay.
What? Just.
And if you look at my camera, it should loop now. So we can see the camera moving in space, and it's looping around.
Oh, it looked like a ghost.
Yeah. Okay. So those are the two things that we wanted to accomplish today. Make a camera animation by setting the keyframes and moving it around. And then looping the animation by using our graph editor to make this cyclic or cycling over and over again.
Okay.
Questions?
What if I don't want it to loop anymore?
Oh, now you're really messing with me. So what do you mean? Like loop into?
If I want to uncycling, you know.
Oh, so you want to undo? I've never undid the cyclic movements before. So that's a really good question. Let's see if we can find the answer.
Right?
I've never done this before. Okay.
This
Let's
is
go back into our graph editor. Alright, stop the animation. Okay. Oh, there it is. We can clear cyclics.
cycling.
I've never done that before. I mean, I've looked at the menu a million times, but it never occurred to me to clear the cyclic movement. But yes, we should be able to clear that, and now it goes back to the normal keyframe movement that we have.
Right, thank
Okay.
you.
So again, a Shift E, make cyclic. How does it look?
That's a good looking. It is pretty good.
It's a little bit fast. It's kind of giving me a nausea. Oh, this is a good learning opportunity. Oh, I'm gonna learn. And then you can only close one window at a time. Okay. This is a good learning opportunity. Let's stop there. So right now I'm saying my camera movement is a little bit too fast. How do I change that? I don't want to make new keyframes. I don't want to delete any keyframes. But how can I take the keyframes that I have already for my camera movement and slow this down?
Maybe.
Just stretch it out.
Stretch it out. I like it. Right. So if we look here, I'm using frames 0 through 60. If we stretch this out by selecting these frames and moving them outward, or we can scale the frames as well.
We can scale.
Yes. So just by pushing S, of course, to scale, I can now scale my animation up. So instead of ending at 90 frames, I can make it end at 220 frames. More frames means more time. It takes more time for the animation, meaning that it's slower. Okay, so let me stop it there and let's take a look now. Now we have a slower movement. So just by simply scaling all of the keyframes, you have to select all of them, of course, to do this. Pushing S, you can do that. You can also scale down too. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't see any of this animation
Okay, you need to have your armature selected in pose mode. So is your armature hiding?
Yeah. No.
Well, then why can't you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to figure it out. Yeah.
All right, so I think that's it, right? Are there any other questions before we move on? Besides that one, I'll be right with you to help you just after this. We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so you know what to do. We have our 5 points in order to get to our final project. Make sure we try to get through all those. And that's it. So if you need any help, you run into any problems, need any suggestions or creative inputs, let me know. I'll come around to help you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Get to work. Yeah, let's figure this out. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, this is looking really good. Now, what about the scene? So, like, what kind of background can we have here? So, like, some ground, some trees, maybe, something like that. Okay, something to kind of add a little bit more. Okay. Are you trying to do the animation for the pig? I thought you already did the animation.
Yeah, but it's in my own PCs.
So why are you working on it here? You can just work on it there and then you can...
Yeah, I'm just testing out what's behind.
Okay, alright. That's fair. How are we doing? Good job. How about like a background? Do you have some idea for like a background? Maybe a bamboo forest? Something like that? Okay, maybe you can work on that next. Looks like it's walking. Okay.
Is there any way we can remove the fog entirely?
Move the what?
The fog, the green fog, the lake. Because it's annoying, the fog. When I zoom it out, that's all I can see.
Oh, so you want to be able to view at a longer distance. Okay. So we set this to here. So. Try to do